when Ariana takes a strange new job at a mysterious call center. The rule is simple. Listen, but never speak. Don't respond, don't react. Just sit in silence and listen to the cries, whispers, and screams of the voices on the other end of the line. It all seemed like a psychological experiment, until one voice changed everything. A familiar one, Mabel, her friend, the one who brought her into this nightmare. What followed was a waking nightmare, a creature wearing the skin of someone she once knew, stalking her beyond the phones. Into reality, a terrifying tale of corporate horror, psychological dread, and the price of ignoring a cry for help. Content warning: this story contains disturbing scenes, existential horror, and emotional tension. Sit back, stay silent. You're about to enter the call center where speaking is forbidden, and silence may be your only chance at survival. We've all heard of odd jobs before. Quirky social media gigs, requests from strangers on the internet, sometimes legit, mostly illegal. I want to warn you about my latest venture. The premise is simple, but confusing. You are paid to answer calls, but you can only listen. If you talk back, if you say anything at all, you're done. Curious? So was I. But before I jump in, I want to set the scene for you. There's a lot of ground to cover, but I promise it'll be worth the wait. Let's start with the call center. There's a certain uneasiness in the building. It's not the lights, or the computers, or the AC rumbling through the white-paneled ceiling. It's deeper than that. A quiet, unnerving buzz. The longer you are here, the easier it gets. But the feeling never quite goes away. It just gets buried, deeper and deeper into that steel case you call your mind. You'd be surprised how many people there are in this office. It's quiet, but it isn't silent. Never silent. If you sit still long enough, if you really listen, you can hear them. The voices, the steady rhythm of desperation. Cries, pleas, whispers, screams. They're not loud enough to disturb anyone, just soft enough to make your skin crawl, like a bad feeling you can't place. They're not coming from the workers. They're pouring out of the phones, the never-ending sea of desperate callers ringing in day after day. Every call is different, every voice is different, but the words, the stories, always the same. Please, they say. I don't know where I am. Something is outside the door. I need help, but no one responds. No one ever does. 2 cubes down, Martha, that's what I call hers, filling out a crossword. She taps her acrylic nails against her desk like she's typing away at an invisible keyboard. Then there is Debbie again, not her name, but she seems like a Debbie. She is tall, brunette, and eating the same cheap parfait she brings in every day. I think it's strawberry flavored. Nobody talks here. Not out loud. Not unless they still want to work here. We don't wear name tags. We don't introduce ourselves. We don't even wear our own faces. Everyone's assigned a mask. Not the sanitary kind. Not the Halloween kind either. They single quotes, corporate, sleek, smooth, almost artistic. I would describe it as a masquerade style, mask without the usual glitter and tassels. They start just below the forehead and stop just above the mouth. They say it's part of the experiment. What experiment? Nobody really knows. That's kind of the whole point. We're not here to understand. We're here to follow instructions. Answer the call. Don't say anything. Let them speak. Let them scream. Let them beg. Just sit there with the phone pressed to your ear and listen until the line goes dead. That's it. That's the job. It seems cheap, gimmicky, almost. Like we're a part of the latest reality TV series, where cameramen are hiding in bushes with ulterior motives. I thought the same at first. But if there is something that doesn't lie, it's money, and lots of it. That's why I'm here. I'm Ariana, 19 years old, college dropout. A few semesters in, then I quit. Way too much. Debt, too little hope. Credit cards stacked like a tower ready to fall. I spent weeks scouring every corner of the internet for something, anything that could get me back on my feet, even if just for a while. That's when Mabel introduced me to her profession. Mabel was unique. Always dressed sharp, nice car. Good career, Chanel bag casually tossed over her shoulder. A very independent woman. She lived in the city, paid her own bills, and did whatever the hell she wanted to. She was fun, serious, and motivating all at once. We have been friends for a while now, but she always kept me at arm's length. Sure, we would go out and have a nice time together, bond over past relationships and mutual interests. But there was something mysterious about her. She never really talked about her work. I assumed it was drugs or some kind of shady side hustle. It wasn't like her to keep secrets. But when she saw how down on my luck I was, she took pity, handed me a business card, and then, just as quickly, told me she never gave me that card. If anyone asks you, I didn't give you that card. You don't know Mabel, and Mabel don't know you, she said sharply. Apparently, that was against the company's rules. Nobody can know anyone else who works there. I was confused, but curious. I called the number. A voice answered. Cold, mysterious. They asked me 2 questions. Do you break under pressure? Do you know anyone else who works here? I said no and no. That was it. No background check, no references. Didn't even ask to see the resume I carefully prepared for the occasion. They gave me an address and a time. Simple as that. The on was just as strange as everything else. You'd think I was signing up for some military program or a secret government project. Everyone was tight-lipped. No smiling, no small talk. The rules were simple and unsettling. Arrive at the building exactly when your shift starts. Not a minute early, not a minute late. Keep your mask on the entire time. No exceptions. Don't identify yourself. Don't try to identify anyone else. Do not respond or speak to the caller on the other end of the line. It felt odd to say the least, but I kept telling myself it was just one big experiment. They're paying for data, not for us to help anyone. We're not really answering calls. We're the product, being fed to someone or something higher up the chain. That is what the assessors say, at least. Assessors are basically glorified managers. People with a flashy degree and people skills that tell you the voices aren't real, that the people on the other end aren't people at all. They're artificial, synthetic, part of the test and nothing. More simulations, they say. You're not hurting anyone. It's about resilience, exposure therapy, mental strength. Sure, buddy. I don't know what they are. I refuse to believe they are people. It wouldn't make sense. But they don't act like simulations either. They don't sound fake. They sob, they stutter, they beg for their kids. They talk about the thing outside the closet, or the eyes under the bed, or monster outside their window. You sit there, you listen. You grip your pen tighter and tighter until the call drops out, or the screaming stops, or there's that awful, sudden silence, like something just grabbed the person out of existence. Then, you breathe. You clear your throat. And the phone rings again. You pick up. I've been here 8 months now. Not long, but long enough to know the rhythm. This job isn't about smarts or motivation. It's about routine, muscle memory. You have to build your own little rhythm. Listening to terror all day eats at you, breaks you down slowly. I've seen it happen. New masks come in, wide-eyed and curious. And by month 2, they're breaking rules, were just gone. My routine is pretty straightforward. At this point, I get in at 6:45 a.m. Sharp, same elevator, same grey carpet, same cubicle by the fire exit. I don't speak to anyone. It's safer that way. Chatter is dangerous for me, and for whoever's already picking up calls at 7 a.m. My phone activates. The light goes on. Not a ring, never a ring, just the light. Blue means wait. Red means answer. And when it's red, you answer. You don't greet them. You don't ask questions. You just listen, and what you hear, well, they're always running, always hiding, always being chased by something they can't quite describe. A little boy whispering, saying something is scratching at his door. His mum won't wake up. A woman panting, saying she's in the stairwell. Something is coming up behind her fast, and the police aren't answering her calls anymore. A man with a crushed voice, locked in a closet. He mutters that he hears footsteps pacing back and forth, right outside, stopping every time he breathes. Different voices. Same panic. Some of them say they're in a hallway, or a small bedroom, or under a sink. Sometimes they describe this building, the call center. They'll mention glass double doors, or the color of the carpet, or the smell of coffee from a nearby break room. Sometimes they describe the workers. You have a mask. They'll say black gloves, I know you. You can help me. Then they scream. We're not supposed to react, not even a twitch. I've gotten pretty good at it. Neutral face, steady hands. A woman once asked me to sing to her while something chewed its way through her front door. I didn't, but I wanted to. It sticks to you, even after the call ends. Especially then. We all handle it differently. Food, puzzles, fidgeting, anything to let out the tension. To cope, I sketch what they describe. Not out of interest or enjoyment, just release. Macabre, maybe, but it makes the images leave my head a little faster. Dark figures, tall shadows, doorways broken and bloody, a lot of staircases, and then, just when I start to forget, the light turns red again. The first few days were the hardest, but then my first check came in after. Just 1 month on the job, I paid off my student loans. That crushing weight finally lifted. If you want to know what happens next, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. What's coming is stranger than you think.